Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing the Marc Jacobs reMarcable foundation. If you guys are new to the channel, hey guys, my name is Ken, also known as MrKenDenis. So I basically do product reviews, vlogs, lifestyle sort of like content. If that's your jam, hit the subscribe button. And now let's move on to the video. Okay, if you guys are new to me and how I review products, I basically do a demonstration. I also do the review. If you guys are only interested in a particular part of the video, here are timestamps. But I like to start off the video with what my wants and needs are and what I look for in a foundation. That way you guys know if my wants and needs align with what you guys think is good for a foundation. So let us begin. Okay, so a little bit about me. I am 28 years old, male. I've got some large pores here around the T-zone. I have got broken capillaries. I have got some acne marks that are quite red, so a little bit brown, uneven skin tone. I've also got the 5 o'clock shadow going, which I am very insecure about when I wear makeup, so I like full coverage makeup. So yes, I like full coverage makeup. I prefer something that's like medium buildable, medium coverage, full coverage, that's my jam. In terms of my skin, I have got normal skin, I'd like to say. I've got oily skin around the T-zone like most people. Every now and then I will experience some dry patches here and there. In particular today, I actually have some here. Not sure what's causing it, but I do. In terms of finishes, I prefer demi-matte finishes, and in terms of what is my ideal wear of foundation, honestly, 6 to 8 hours is the best thing for me. Okay, so with this particular foundation, I usually use a silicone-based primer or something quite rich, so something like this from Bobbi Brown. For today's demonstration purposes, we're going to be using the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Rich Face Base. Just going to grab that on a buffing brush. Now with this particular foundation, I do find prepping your skin really well makes it last and look so good on the skin, so definitely take your time. If you guys are new to my channel, I don't like my 5 o'clock shadow, so I always do some color correction. If you guys would like to see a video on this, just click on the screen. Okay, for today's demonstration, I'm going to be using the sponge on this side, I'm going to be using a brush on this side. So again, I'm in the shade 33 Beige. If you guys are interested in my shade references, I'll leave them down in the description box down below, but I am an NC30 from MAC. Now this one is a little bit light. I actually just used the shade matching feature on Sephora's website to see what shade I might be. I didn't actually go in for an actual shade match, so I think I might do the sponge bit first. So that's usually the amount of foundation that I go with on one side of my face. With this particular foundation, less is more. So this is what it looks like with one layer of the sponge. Pretty happy with that. So I'm just going to repeat the process with a brush and use the same amount of product. I think that's roughly the same amount. So I'm just using that brush again. It again had some of that primer on it already. Okay, so this is what it looks like with a brush, and I have to say the coverage isn't even. I feel like you actually get a little bit more coverage from the sponge, which is quite surprising, considering most of the time you associate makeup sponges with absorbing a little bit more product, but I don't know, I just find with the brush it doesn't blend as well, it doesn't cover as much. I mean, it looks a little bit more natural, I have to say, just because you see a little bit more of your actual skin tone underneath, but that's with only one layer. Now we're going to try and repeat the process with the second layer. I'm going to try and do that way I actually have an even amount of product, because I actually don't remember how much I put on the first time. And yes, there's a little bit of playtime with this particular foundation. It doesn't dry down quickly. 2 layers of the foundation, and looking at this screen I can see there's a little bit of a discrepancy in terms of the coverage. This is definitely more full coverage, and then when I look at this side, it has more of a natural look to the skin. It's so weird because usually for other foundations it's the other way around. I feel that sponges just look more natural and the brush side just looks like a lot of product. My theory is because the brush takes off a little bit of the product, so you see a little bit more of your skin, whereas the sponge in this case is just literally just pressing it onto the skin, so you definitely get more coverage. Okay, so I'm just gonna try and even out all of this because I have to do a makeup tutorial, and I will be back with my thoughts and opinions on this foundation. Ta-da! So the rest of the makeup is on, and if you guys are interested in a little tutorial, head over to my Instagram at MrKenDenis so you guys can see that little tutorial. Now let's move on to the review proper of this foundation. Now I'm on the Sephora Australia website, and this retails for 79 Australian dollars. In terms of high-end makeup here in Australia, that is considered a little bit more expensive. I think most higher-end foundations lie between 40 to 100, so this is definitely in the in-between. I'm just going to skip through, so I'm just going to like skim through the description, pick out the things that I think are quite interesting. So it says it's a flawless full coverage foundation. Hell yes, girl, that is true. It says it's an oil-free base. Now this is going to be really good for people that have oilier skin. If you guys have drier skin, I do have to say prepping your skin with facial oils or something quite rich, something like this is going to definitely help. Now for me, I have normal skin, but I do have slightly oilier skin like around the T-zone, but every now and then I will have like dry patches. Like for me today in particular, I have like dry patches here. Not sure why, I just do sometimes, and I can see the foundation clinging onto that, and yeah, it emphasizes that. Okay, it says here, completely covers pores, blemishes and other imperfections. In terms of pores, I feel that if I don't use a silicone-based primer, I can still see my pores. Are they bad? No. Are they obvious? Not really, unless you look really close, but this is my face, so I can tell that the pores are still there. Hey girl. In terms of covering blemishes and other imperfections, I have to say the coverage is superb in that aspect, because as you guys know, my 5 o'clock shadow is like my biggest insecurity. That's why I always color correct, and you know, sometimes even if I color correct and the foundation doesn't have enough coverage, I still can kind of see it, and I don't like that. So with this particular foundation, I don't have to worry about that problem because like the coverage, girl, it's coverage. Let's see what else was interesting on here that I saw. Oh, it says that it has a patented, yeah, what that word, golden mica to give the complexion a more radiant, natural looking glow. I have to say that's actually quite true. With a lot of full coverage foundation, I do feel that my skin looks quite flat, or the base looks really flat, but with this particular foundation, even without all the highlight, the bronzers and stuff like that, I feel that skin actually looks healthy, glowy, if that makes sense. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say if the camera can pick it up, but definitely in person, it definitely looks more alive compared to other full coverage foundations, if that makes sense. Okay, so in terms of what do I prefer the sponge, do I prefer the brush? I honestly prefer the brush with this one in particular. I love my self coverage, but sometimes I feel like the sponge does pack on a little bit too much in certain spots, so I do prefer like a buffing type brush with this particular foundation, and I do have a couple of friends that do prefer the brush as well, even though they're like me, like absolute die-hard sponge users. In terms of how it lasts all day, I honestly feel that because of the coverage, it lasts pretty well throughout the day. The only times that I feel that maybe I need to touch up with a little bit of powder are maybe around the T-zone, and that's just because of how oily I can get there sometimes, but I think coverage wise it's good, and how well it holds up with the oils. It actually looks much better on the skin as time goes on. I mean, like, it looks good now, but it looks more natural, more radiant as the day goes by, as it mixes in with your natural oils. In terms of makeup removal, it's pretty easy. I don't think it like clings to the skin. Like, I have used other full coverage makeup and it clings to the skin if you don't use oil-based makeup removers. I use like face halo, microfiber cloths, that sort of thing, and it comes off quite easily. Oil-based makeup cleansers comes off easily, even just like with a normal facial wash it comes off, but you have to double cleanse. But yeah, it's pretty easy to remove. Overall, what do I think about this foundation? I absolutely love it. It's probably one of the best foundations I have tried out recently. I highly recommend it. It is quite pricey, but like I said, you only need a little bit of this foundation to get a decent amount of coverage. Obviously I like to pack it on, so I'll probably go through this faster than other people, but yeah, it's great value for money, and it just works. I think that's the most important thing with a product that has a little bit of a heftier price tag on it. It has to work, and this product definitely works for me. So that's pretty much it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to thumbs up the video and tell me down in the comment box down below, have you guys tried out this foundation? Are you guys going to try it out? Or if you have, what is your experience with this foundation? I'd love to hear from you guys, and I think it's really good that we all share down in the comment box down below, because you know, some people like to watch and read the comments. I personally like reading comments on other videos as well. Anyway, that's pretty much it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!